Back in the Window World Studios on the Steve Cochran Morning Quickie. Crank this up a little bit. Friday, this feels good. Good music to manipulate your man by. Monica Sarley standing by. Is Monica with me?
Yes, hello.
Well, don't sound like you're already tired of me, Monica. You don't even know me well enough to be tired of me.
I haven't gotten started yet.
No, please. I mentioned before, and welcome to the show, by the way. Monica Sarley is an expert on manipulating men, and she'd like to teach you to do the same if you're not already skilled. I mentioned before, we're a simple lot, so can't you just get naked and promise us a steak?
Oh, that works every time, Steve.
Yeah, so you're talking about things more subtle and more skilled at a higher level?
You know, it all depends on the situation.
Now, how do women come by your knowledge? I mean, where would you send them first? Would you send them to a book, a website? What do they do?
Well, they can go to my website, themenwars.com, and my book is Men-ipulation. And actually, it's a book all about survival.
Survival for both of us, or just for your team?
Yes, I guess you could say that. No, really, it's about, how I survived a 15-year heroin addiction and being a manipulator to do that.
But it's not just about, the dark side of your life. It's also about, it's a very funny, in some ways dark, obviously, but it's, there's a lot of biographies and things out there, but the way you look at your life, I think, is pretty inspiring.
Well, thank you, Steve. It's been truly a battle, and I've been clean 25 years. And, as women, we learn to manipulate. As little girls, we manipulate our dads, our brothers. I manipulated my dad when he was drinking, my husband, with drugs and sex. I also was sexually violated as a kid. I had to manipulate that guy, too. And also the drug dealers that gave me drugs.
Yeah, now, when you say you were sexually assaulted as a child, you mean the manipulation there was to stay alive and to survive that horrible chapter in your life?
Yeah, I was really young. It started when I was like 9, 10 years old. And you just, you try and maneuver and try and avoid them, and it was just, it was a really, really hard situation. I grew up in the late 50s, early 60s. You didn't talk about that kind of stuff.
No, not at all.
The person doing it to me was a Missouri State Representative. I'm originally from Kansas City.
Well, and that's the thing, because normally the child, and I worked with abused kids for a long time, and the child takes it upon themselves because either there's blame going on or there's threats that have come from the creep that's committing these hideous crimes. And as a kid, you don't know. And you got to have somebody in your life you can trust to go to, whoever that is, to finally break out of that.
Well, yeah, and, really growing up, I didn't have that. I grew up in a Catholic home where, I would come home from school and tell my parents, Sister Mary Colette hit me, and my parents would say, well, you must have deserved it. So as a kid, I never felt like anybody was there to really save me. So you just learn, your own little skills when you're a kid.
Well, if you get the book Men-ipulation, Men-ipulation, you're going to laugh. You may cry a little bit. You're going to be inspired. They're going to feel for you, but I think people can get a lot out of it.
No, and they do. And the thing is, the way I've stayed clean, Steve, I don't lie. I run my story, and I help other people. And when I say run my story, if people ask me what's happened, I have no problem with, telling, my whole story. And I do that so that I can inspire other people that are trapped in their own toxic relationships, addiction, and just to let them know that, their destiny and happiness is always determined by the choices you make. So make them good choices.
Yeah, and by the way, when you don't make good choices, don't beat yourself up and live in those good choices. Learn from them and move on.
Exactly. And in my life, I'm human. I've made a lot of mistakes. And I haven't made great choices with men. And usually my choices, I knew it was probably the wrong choice, but I knew it would be more fun for a while.
Well, and you know what? That's the interesting thing, because there's an addiction to that as well. And it's not all that different biochemically from the addiction to drugs or booze or anything else that ultimately can be destructive in your life.
No, it really can be. And, you just, like some of the choices I made, I can kind of say I still feel like I'm an adrenaline junkie. I get high on things like that.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
It's just all part of the process.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it's a day-to-day thing. And I come from a family of folks who had addiction issues, so I was more the king of codependent, and that's not a way to live either. So, you can love somebody as hard as you want, but they're only going to get fixed when they hit bottom and want to get fixed. And like I said, you can take Monica's life and use it as inspiration for your own. So, tell them the website again and where to get the book.
It is themenwars.com.
And is that the best place to buy the book?
Yes, yeah. Just go to my website, and you can buy the paperback, or you can get it on Kindle, Nook, or iPad.
All right, there's a sentence we wouldn't have said very long, or a while ago, right? Kindle, Nook, iPad. What? What's a Kindle, Nook, and an iPad? All the best. Stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Steve. Go Cardinals.
There you go. Good call. Monica Sarli, author of Men-ipulation.